Hello and welcome back. So one of the things I've been wanting to talk about for a while that I've been using a lot and really enjoying as a part of a different sort of workflow in terms of my own photography is large format. It's kind of funny doing this video. The very first video I ever put on YouTube, like back in 2011, which was half a decade ago, was kind of a really rudimentary overview of large format cameras. And it was this old 5x7 that I barely ever used because it was clunky and it was kind of archaic. And then I borrowed a friend's Crown for a number of years, up until I stumbled onto this at a local photo store for a good price, and I picked it up, and I'm really glad I did. So this is the Toyo 4x5 or 45cx, and I'm not entirely sure what the CX stands for. I believe it means it has this smaller front standard that you can see here. But I wanted to give kind of an introduction and an overview to 4x5 monorail and kind of large format cameras overall. And this is really a great camera to do that on. So like with any real 4x5 camera, you have your basic components, and they're all relatively the same. And it's no different really than any other camera. I mean, at the end of the day, however intimidating this might look, it's still just a camera like any other. And so at the front, you have the lens and the shutter, and then in the middle you have the bellows, and on the back you have your ground glass. And so effectively, like if this was a 35mm camera, if you could imagine that, lens would be the same. Shutter would be in a different position, but that's not really a big deal because who cares where the shutter goes as long as it's working. The bellows just acts as a focusing tool, and the ground glass is just your focusing screen, your viewfinder. And it eventually also converts into the film plane once you've got the film loaded up and ready to go. So that's really the most basic part. It's a lot of people can be intimidated by these cameras, but there's really nothing to be intimidated about. And I'm going to pop this off here really quick, the lens board. So lenses are interchangeable, as you can imagine, and they just mount to different boards. You can get different boards with different size holes in them. You can make your own boards. I had to make my own when I had an old brass lens from the 1800s on here for a while. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. This is a Nikon Nikkor 210mm 5.6. I really like the Nikon large format lenses. They're really, really stunning, pretty affordable. I picked this one up with the shutter for about 180 bucks. And the shutter and lens combo are from the late 90s. So this is really new. It's really well kept, and it's in really great condition. It's snappy. All of the shutter speeds were spot on. I wasn't worried about it at all. It's a great lens and a great combination. And plus, it's modern enough that it aesthetically it looks good with the 4x5 there. So this is your lens combo, and the shutter is this middle portion here. And what you can actually do is the lens comes apart like this, so you can take off the front elements and the back elements and kind of put them all together. They make convertible lenses that'll change focal length, which is effectively like a really rudimentary and early version of a zoom. So that's the lens board that mounts to the front standard here. Now on the rear standard you have kind of a similar thing, and that is this piece right here, which is your ground glass and film back. And so ground glass operates, like I was saying, like a viewfinder. It gives the lens something to focus on, something to project the image onto. And the ground glass is always aligned with where your film plane will be. So, let's see, actually, I think I do. I've had these sitting here forever. I don't even remember what's in them anymore, but this is a 4x5 film holder. So, it just slides in. You're able to pull out the dark slide. I'm not going to because I think there is film in these. And take your photo. There is an order of operations that you will learn and that you'll figure out in terms of how the camera operates. But that's really something that depends on your workflow overall and how you interact with the camera. You will stick to the same basic guidelines, but some people like to do things in a little bit different order. So that's the back. Now, in between those two pieces, and this is kind of where things get fun, is really the bellows and the body of the camera itself. A lot of times you'll see cameras that don't include a back or a lens, and this is effectively what you'll be buying. You'll be buying a bellows on a rail system here. And I prefer the more modern versions. You can get old monorail cameras for pretty cheap. You can find the old Graflexes, under $100. But really, if you look around, you can find these for under $100 as well. This one I paid $75 for, and it came with the back and the lens board. It didn't include the lens, but that was the only thing I had to buy. And so in total, I only spent like $250 on this kit. Which, from my perspective, if you're getting into something, do it right, I guess, because I'd hate for you to buy a large format camera, get all excited about it, and then find that it's really too cumbersome for you to use. So as far as construction goes, you can see that it's a monorail because it has this single rail. You can buy folding cameras, field cameras. Those are all different types, but monorail tends to give you the most functionality. Now, you might not use it. You might find yourself just sticking to it pretty simply, but we'll get started here. So you can see that this is the main plate where the tripod mounts, and everything on here can be moved. So if I loosen this up, you can see that I can adjust the rear standard, I can adjust the front standard, but then I can also adjust where it sits on the tripod itself by moving this guy around. And once I get everything locked into place with all of these different wheels here, then it comes time to fine-tune everything. Now, what I've done effectively, if you can imagine me being in the field when I just did that, was get my image roughly into focus. If I'm focusing at infinity, I kind of want to get it in that general range. It doesn't have to be spot on, because I can use these knobs right here, and what these will do is fine-tune the focus. And so I have one for the front standard, which you can see it moves it just ever so slightly, and same thing on the back. You can see this one here is a little bit forward, and we can just pull that back and get it more into alignment. And so that'll allow me to really make sure that my image is in focus and sharp. I can use a loop on the ground glass here and just to double check and really magnify it. Of course, you'll be under the hood, and that'll help you really get a good idea of what the image is going to look like. It's really easy for it to get washed out if you don't have a hood. I know there are some like add-on little kind of hood things. They don't work really well. Get the big cloth one like you'd see in the old-timey photos. That's really what you want to get you the most accurate look at what your image is going to be. And then there's all sorts of other movements, and these vary from photographer to photographer. So you swing, tilt, shift, all these things. Rise, fall. So you can see that there are these knobs on the front here that you can loosen, and then you can raise the front standard, lower the front standard, and same thing for the back. Also has those same pieces. You also have your swing, so I can adjust for it like this. And another really nice feature about this camera is that it has stops at kind of the 0 mark. So if you can imagine, your camera gets shifted like this in transport or something because you don't have these all the way tightened, and you want to make sure that everything's nice and true before you go to set up your camera and your picture, you can hear it lock into place there, and you're sure that it's back in the right position. But then you can also, shift it from side to side as well. If I just loosen these guys, should be able to push it. Yep. And so you can really get a lot of movement and get a lot of versatility out of the lens. And, this is all stuff that kind of comes with time, really. I would really advise not just jumping in and really exploring all of these different movements, because they're a great way to ensure that one portion of your image that you want it to be in focus is not, and that's really no good. I cannot recommend enough just really getting to experience your camera and really exploring it and learning how to use it on your own. Even setting it up and playing around with it in your own home, and getting it figured out so that you know exactly what it is you're going to be doing when it comes time to take that first photo. Similarly, with loading film, you'll want to practice that as well. But once all that's done, you can really dive into it. There's so much to learn. There's so many great books about large format photography, more than I could ever talk about in countless YouTube videos here. So with this, I really wanted to just give a brief kind of introduction into a 4x5 camera and all the different kind of components. I'm going to make another video in a little bit that goes over more of the in-depth process and what it is we talk about, and how the different components of a large format camera and all the different movements come together to form the final image. So until next time, thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. All of those links are down below. And thanks for watching.